What is going on, everybody? Welcome back to another episode of Real Fans FC, episode 8. Just me and Tyler today. Adam came across some very unfortunate events that happened to him that he could discuss in the next episode. So we'll leave it
Kind of
at
funny.
that.
Kind of funny.
It's a little funny, but we'll leave it at that. Tyler, how you feeling today? How you feeling?
Man, it's a gloomy Thursday today, but we're good. We're good. Just getting it.
Yeah. So we're gonna start off obviously in our own continent. Big massive trade that happened in MLS between our favorite team with another opponent in the Eastern Conference, and that is Inter Miami and Montreal. The trade entailed Bryce Duke and Ariel Lassiter. In return, Miami gets Kamal Miller, Canadian international, plus $1.3 million in GAM. Big deal. Tyler, what do you think of this trade so far? What was your first reactions, and then as things kind of settled in, you got a chance to think about it, kind of like how'd you feel about it?
I mean, I like Bryce Duke a lot, so that's kind of a blow. But at the same time, like, I don't know, Kamal Miller, I mean, he's very established, bro. Um, really, really good, defensive midfielder. I think we definitely need that, especially with um the injuries we have right now, and plus our midfield just isn't clicking for shit. So I think that's a sorry. I think that's a pretty solid just straight pickup anchor in the midfield that we need. So
Yeah, I think this is going to lead to like a formation change. Like obviously now with a third defender, I think this is going to lead. I think this puts like McVay kind of on like edge now, where it's like, all right, like we got an easy, quick replacement for you, and he hasn't really been performing these past couple of games, especially with Negru being so far up in advance. And we kind of talked about it last week in the episode that like Negri and Yedlin are just so far up, and I think it's due to what Phil is asking from them, and so it's leaving them really exposed in the back. And but Kristoff is able to kind of hold his own, but McVeigh multiple times is just getting caught. So I think this is going to be a really good addition. Kamal Miller did play in this past World Cup for Canada. He was an MLS All-Star defender, and he's only 25 years old. So we're going to have a very, very stout defensive line, I think. I think now switching to the back, a true back three/back five with three established veterans with Kristoff, McVeigh, and now Kamal Miller is going to be really, really huge for us. And then allowing Negri and Yedlin to push forward is going to be like really massive without having to take on so much defensive responsibility going up back and forth. Because, man, I don't know about you, but those last few games, Yedlin has just looked gassed. He's looked so gassed back there.
my bad, I was talking to my mom. Yeah, no. Is that what we're gonna play him? Is center back, or are we gonna use him in the midfield?
No, he's a center back.
He is this okay.
He,
Well, because I
yeah,
know,
he
I know, like for Canada, he was playing defensive mid, and then also like,
was he?
I mean,
I didn't know
yeah,
that.
he was, and then also in FIFA 2, they have him as a center defensive mid. So that's why I was asking, like, are we running him at center back? Because I mean, I know he has played it for Montreal, but that's why I said, whenever you asked me my opinion, I said, oh, I think he'll be a solid CDM because I didn't know exactly where we were playing him. So.
No, yeah, he's a center back. I think he went to the All Star and I believe played for Canada in the World Cup as a center back. But you might be right. Maybe just recently he played as a defense. But no, he is a center back. He was from what I was seeing online and like people were saying on Twitter that he was kind of having a slow start to this season. Apparently, he's been pretty lackluster this past these first 6-7 games. But nonetheless, I mean, at the end of the day, we all kind of knew the shit show that Montreal was. and coming into this season. And I think him coming to a new environment, he's going to get back into that all-star form like he was with Montreal last year. Obviously, we all knew Montreal was a top team, the second place team last year.
Yep.
So I think coming back to a more established system that could possibly fit him is going to work a lot better.
Mhm.
As for losing Bryce Duke, for me, I was kind of pissed. Like at
Yeah, I
first,
like
I was
Bryce Duke,
kind
and especially because we just gave him an extension. Like I don't know if that's what you were about to say, but
yeah, like we just gave him an extension. I liked him in the midfield. I thought Phil was playing him out of position, but as things kind of settled and as things Ariel, real quick with Ariel Laster, honestly, the guy couldn't finish. He was a good speed winger to kind of break the line, but he's not a huge difference maker for us. I feel like you can pick up any backup off of MLS and can do kind of the same thing as him. So him's kind of whatever, and he's too old to really like develop and sell off. Bryce Duke for me was a weird one because Phil came out yesterday after the trade saying that they felt like for Bryce Duke to have a spot on this team, he needs to be more of a 6-8 role instead of a 10-8 role. And Phil
Mhm.
said that this team will always look at the number 10 position for a DP spot.
Mm.
So, and because of that, they just don't see Bryce Duke getting the opportunities in the shot to like actually get that number 10 role because they basically outward like said that, hey, look, we're only going to use our number 10 spots for DPs. So
I
our
mean,
number 10
it's not a
position for
bad.
DPs.
I mean, yeah, it's not a bad. I don't blame them at the end of the day because Higuain's a hard shoe to fill too, though. So at the same time,
Yeah.
you can't really blame them.
So it's like, and we saw these past couple of games, he hasn't looked that great, especially in that position that doesn't fit him. So, I mean, I get it, man. Like I get moving on, and I think switching a formation back to a back three with Gregory being gone. Obviously, too, I don't know if you saw today, Inter Miami just announced the new guy, the Ecuadorian, for the new CDM to replace Gregory, 30-year-old from Ecuador from the team Olymec.
Yeah,
Um,
yeah, I did see that. I saw that on Twitter today. I didn't read too much about it, but I did see on Twitter that we did pick him up, and well, obviously now I know that's our CDM, and yeah, Kamal Miller
yeah,
replaced center back. But yeah, so I don't know
yeah.
too
So
much
that's
about that Ecuadorian. It's
neither
nice that
do
he has
I.
chem with Impana, I guess in a way. So, but
At least
I
we
mean I
filled the
don't.
shoes,
Yeah, yeah,
At
for
least you got
sure.
a true CDM in back there who's experienced. Apparently, he played with the Ecuador national team for a few games. And he was a captain of his team. So
Mm.
either
So
way,
that's a
it's good
good
to have.
it's good info to
Yeah,
hear for sure.
yeah. So it's good to have like a guy who can like go in there and replace. He signed a contract for the rest of the 2023 season with an extension with an option for 2024, and the same goes for Kamal Miller. Kamal Miller, he is signed on for the rest of the year with an option for 2024, I believe.
Mm.
um I think the thing with Bryce Duke with the extension, and I kind of thought about it, is like, I guess if you're going to trade him and get something for him, you have to extend. He has to be on a contract. You know what I mean? Like, so to
Yeah,
get like
yeah.
those transfer fees and stuff, like, no one's going to want to put that much money to a person who doesn't have a long term deal underneath them. So I guess I kind of see it in that perspective. But it also sucks too because like at first I was like, oh man, this is going to be like our one chance to probably like sell somebody off, like a young talent. But it looks like we Miami also gets a percentage off of whatever Montreal is to sell from Bryce Duke if they were to do that, which is a pretty big deal. So Miami
Bryce
still
Duke could
gets
probably
some of
be the
that.
best player on that team right now.
Yeah,
If we're
so
gonna
a
be
lot of
honest.
people are pointing to where they really don't understand the rationale of why Montreal did this because they could see Bryce Duke, Ariel Laster, and for Kamal Miller trade because Kamal Miller proven a center back in the league, all-star Canadian national team player, played in the World Cup, but then to also give up $1.3 million in GAM for Bryce Duke and Ariel Laster is a little head scratching, which I kind of get too, especially since we paid $100,000 for Bryce Duke last year and Ariel Laster $100,000 as well last year. So in total for Ariel Laster and Bryce Duke, we bought them for $200,000 in GAM And now for the both of them, 1 year later, we're getting back an all-star defender and
So
$1.3 million. So
pretty much we like I don't know the proper terminology for it, but we like just 10 times our money pretty much is what it
yeah,
sounds like.
yeah. Chris Henderson's cooking right now. I was a
Yeah.
little upset, but then when I kind of thought about it and saw, and I was getting all the information about back and forth, I'm like, man, we honestly really fleeced Montreal.
Yeah,
Yes,
bro.
it
I mean,
sucks that
flipping 200K to 10 to 1.2 mil and fucking an all-star player. I mean, that's good enough for me, to
it's
be honest with you. I
yeah.
can't complain. So,
Yeah, and it's like as much as I love Bryce Duke. Oh, and on top of that, you still get a percentage of whatever they sell him for if he was to
oh,
succeed
true,
and get
true.
sold. So it's like, as much as I hate getting rid of Bryce Duke, I'm like, man, this is honestly a really good move by Chris Henderson. Like, this man he's putting in work right now.
I don't know
But
who's gonna hit our gritties though, now that we don't have Lassiter anymore.
yeah,
Well, we don't score either though, so I guess
yeah.
no one. But
Yeah, so I guess we can end on this last part of this topic. So, like, what do you now that we kind of have some pieces put in place for a new formation? With it looks like we're going to be a 3-5-2 or a 5-3-2 with our new CDM and our new center back. What do you see going forward? Do you think this is going to be a turnaround point for them? Like, who do you see starting in that midfield next to Gregory and the new signing?
well, in my area, it's always hard to say predictions because Phil is I
Yeah.
don't know, Phil's so unpredictable because I would think that we're gonna run a 5-3-2 or a 3-5-2, and then next thing I know we're not. But at the same time too, I can't really say it's a turning point because I don't know. It looked like a turning point at the start of the season for the first 2 weeks, and then it's been, we all know, a train wreck since. So
Hmm.
it's really hard for me to say, but I mean, if you want my opinion, I really hope this turns out for the better, for sure. I mean, we got rid of one of our most beloved players in our city. Everyone loved Bryce Duke. Like every time he came on, you heard the chants, Duke, Duke, Duke. So I think, I don't know. I'm hoping this really, really turns out, and I'm hoping we stick to a 5-3-2 or a 3-5-2. That's the only formations I want to see on like the whenever the lineups come out. So I would hope that's what we're sticking to. So hopefully, yeah,
Especially
this
since
is
you're
a turning
losing.
point.
I would say, especially since you're losing a midfielder. So it's like I almost thought about like they could do a 4-4-2 diamond potentially and
Mhm.
maybe bench McVay. Maybe like McVay was one of those people that Phil possibly called out. But then another person is like, well, do you want to put in a homegrown as your second eight in that 4-4-2, or do you put in a Robert Taylor? I don't know. I
I
thought I
like
could.
Robert Taylor. I
Yeah,
think Robert
yeah, I
Taylor
do
should
too.
start.
I just think Robert Taylor's a winger, and I just don't think we're playing with wingers unless he plays wing back. And this kind of goes into my whole Phil thing where it's like, man, I'm honestly on the edge of like Phil needs to be fired. I'm almost on that Phil Neville out
Yeah,
train. I think if
yeah.
he doesn't turn this team around by the summer transfer window and halfway through the midseason point, and we're not sniffing the playoffs, he's got to go. He's got
For
to
sure.
like
I agree.
it, because it's looking rough. I think he's a great locker room coach. He built a great culture, but man, his tactics are so subpar and his
Yeah,
player positioning. I hate the fact that he forces players to play in his system instead of building a system around what he has.
yeah. He's not
And
worse than his brother though. His brother didn't ever win one game as a manager.
it's in Valencia,
Gary,
yeah.
Gary, when he was in charge of Valencia, he went 0 for 13. He was so bad. I'd rather have Phil than Gary. Please, for the love of God, don't bring Gary.
My thing is the thing too is I'm rooting for Phil because I like Phil. Like I like listening to him. He seems like a cool person. Like he seems like a genuinely like nice guy. But
Yeah.
man, his tactics is just so subpar to me, and he gets outclassed constantly
And that's what I
throughout
told
the.
and that's what I told you at the game, our last home game whenever we were there. I was like, you would think as Phil being a natural defender, who has fucking 8 Champions Leagues to his name or 8 Prems to his name and shit like that, like you would think like this man like I said would stack the defense and make it a 10 out of 10 every time and turn the defense into offense. I just don't know why he doesn't. Like I don't know what it is.
Well,
Like
it's the
it's just
flip-flopping too. There's no identity. Like last year, we would play with a we started off the season with a back five. I don't know if you remember. And then we moved to a 4-3-3, and then we went to a 4-2-3-1, and then we went and towards the end of the season we went to a 4-4-2 diamond. And now coming into this season, because we ended the season great with a 4-4-2 diamond, now he's like, now we're gonna run a 4-4-2 diamond. But then the season starts and we never run a 4-4-2 diamond, partly because Campana's gone, but then either way, like we came back, Campana's back, and we still didn't run a 4-4-2 diamond, and then we trade away all these players to then go to a back 3-5. It's like he has no identity of what he wants to do, and then
yeah.
he's playing
I'm
these
here. I'm
players
just
out of
pulling
position.
my notes.
No, I
Yeah.
got you. And it's just like, I don't know. It's wild. I guess only time will tell. For me, I'm gonna give him to over the halfway season point. I'm not gonna be. I don't believe in firing like managers like right when the season starts. I just feel like you're setting yourself up for disaster. And if you're gonna pay him for the year, you might as well have him be here for a while. So to me, it's like, where are we at halfway through the season? Once the summer is the late, the ends of summer is coming up, and you're starting to get a lot more managers available. It's like, where are we going to be at by then? And if we're not like anywhere near where we want to be, he's got to go
Yeah.
one way or
Um,
another.
I didn't not to change the subject, but sorry.
It's all good. I'll cut
Um,
it out.
no. What I was gonna say was I just lost my train of thought for a second. I didn't rewatch the Dallas game. I don't know if you did, but how did Campana even do? Like, not to change the subject, but
Yeah,
now that we're on in Miami.
I rewatched the first half, and dude, I couldn't get. I by the time the second half, but I watched the first half, and then I was going to watch the second half, and I was honestly like, man, fuck this. It was so boring. It was so like they were doing no progression, no progressive passing, no expected goals. It was just so bland, so boring, so uncreative. It's like they pass back and forth, and then every time they get close to the 18-yard box, they pass it back and then pass it back again to the defender. And it's like
Mhm.
there's no progressive passing. I won't even like blame the midfielders on this, because honestly, too, like I don't see like any diagonal runs being made or any runs being made or openings or movement being made by Campana or Joseph either. Like I look, we don't have the most creative players in the midfield, but at the same time, it's not like I'm seeing very creative runs being made either, or
Mhm.
like opening up lanes. You have two strikers. It seems like there's no tactics being employed to free up some space for one of those strikers. You
Yeah.
know what I mean? So I don't know. It was a whole lot of nothing. It was just like we had almost 69% possession and literally nothing. It was straight Spain ball. It was nothing. Like no
And
creation whatsoever, no line
that's the Inter
breaking,
Miami
no
special.
shots. And then Dallas, they put a low block and they're like, "Come at us. You're not going to do anything." So boom, take the ball. You can pass it back and forth, pinball it all you want. You're not going to do anything. And then
Yeah.
Dallas would come and absolutely strike us on the fucking transition, to where it's like,
Exposing us and shit.
yeah. And I mean, like, and Dallas is really good on the transition. They got the players for it. They got the youth for it. They got the speed for it. And honestly, that game could have been like a 4-0 game. But
To Dallas.
yeah, for
Yeah.
Dallas, yeah, honestly,
To
like
Calendar.
Drake,
My calendar
Drake.
got
Oh,
fucking named.
and as I say, shout out to Calendar for getting the call up for this pointless U.S. Mexico friendly that's going to happen next week in a non-transfer window. That's why there's so many MLS players, because they're the only players that can easily do it and fly back.
Mhm.
But
I mean, he deserves
there's
it though.
no
I mean,
no, he was getting looks, and I think this is a good opportunity for him to get like a little shot, because obviously your USA is not going to get any of their European players coming over right at the end of a season in a non-transfer window.
mhm.
MLS players can afford to do it early in the season, and you're close. So this is the perfect opportunity for him to like kind of showcase himself, and I think he might get the start, because he got called up with him, Sean Johnson, and someone else, and I think he's been playing better than those other two guys, and he might get a chance to start for the first time. So that'd
Yeah.
be cool. But anyways, I think we kind of beat this Miami Montreal horse. Let's go to CONCACAF Champions League. So last night, I don't know if you got to catch the games last night. Um, Philly played Atlas in a pretty exciting game. And then LAFC played Vancouver Tuesday. LAFC absolutely thrashed Vancouver 6-0 aggregate. They beat them 3-0 in Vancouver and then came back to LA and it was just a beatdown of another
like
3-0 defeat.
we said. So
Dennis Bouanga is a fucking monster. This guy's going to be the MVP of the league. I believe he has like 10 goals across all competitions right now, which is insane. And think like what, 9 matches? Like that.
it's
I don't know
crazy.
exactly how many goals he has, but he has been on fire. I'll pull up the bracket real quick for us. But the guy's been an absolute beast. LAFC, I mean, Philadelphia puts on a good showing against Atlas. It's really kind of cool. I don't know if it's like this for you, but at least for me, like it's pretty cool to see that MLS teams are actually going against Liga MX teams in a way that is aggressive and actually winning and scoring goals away in Mexico. And that was something completely unheard of for MLS for decades. And
Mhm.
now MLS has risen to the point to where it's like, no, we can go to Mexico and not have to play a low block. Like we can go to Mexico and play aggressive and win these games because now we have the talent to do so. And I
Mhm.
think that's pretty cool to see. Like they won 3-2 on aggregate, scored 2 goals in Atlas. It was a 2-2 in leg two, and then a 1-0 at Philly in the first leg. So yeah, let me. So what do you think of? Did you get a chance to watch these and like what do you think of like the performance and this matchup?
I honestly didn't get to watch um any of the games, but I mean, I know we talked about it on the last episode, like our predictions, like who we think's winning it all, man. And LAFC, I mean, even in like MLS, I mean, they're just throttling everything in their path. Like it's just like unfair for teams in a way. They're like it's like I don't know, like comparing like Real Madrid playing like uh,
Almeria or something.
yeah, like yeah, pretty much it's any like bottom table La Liga team in a way, and that's being nice. You know, they're playing a La Liga team, but I mean, if I really wanted to, I'd say Real Madrid playing like LA Galaxy. So yeah, I mean, I don't know. I still think, like I said, we'll have a LA versus I think I said Tigres final last episode. So
Yeah, I think we're all thinking Tigres, LAFC, which
which I'm surprised
Leslie.
Tigres only won 1-0. That's kind of crazy.
Yeah, so they still have a leg to play on the
Yeah,
the
yeah.
right side of the bracket. Well, Tigres, and Matagua do. Leon already advanced. I'm surprised it doesn't have a moved over. They throttled that Haitian team, which
Yeah,
uh,
6-2.
Austin should have. Austin should have. But so yeah, we're probably obviously it's going to be a Liga MX semifinal on one side and the MLS on the other side, which is kind of cool. It's going to be kind of cool to
Yeah,
see.
especially because they're like
Um,
our biggest rival, like as far as um, just
yeah.
whatever international, all that shit.
So I guess like kind of what I was saying with like now starting to see MLS teams like really compete with Liga MX and like really like honestly beat them in meaningful competitions. Kind of like like what do you think about it? Like do you think it's pretty cool to kind of see that and like I guess is this just like the start of like something new pretty much
Yeah,
like with
yeah,
Seattle doing it last year, winning it all?
yeah. And I do like that, and I like how it's incorporated even with like small teams like that Haitian team, for example. And it just goes to show anyone could beat anyone. I mean, that Haitian team on paper should never beat Austin in any fucking universe, but I mean it happened, and that's one thing I like about that. And like I said, it's just the start of something new. Like it just gives a lot of exposure to these smaller teams and these different like countries and their teams involved too. So it just kind of it's a big step forward for sure. I mean, obviously it's LAFC's game to lose pretty much, but at the same time, anyone can win. LAFC, you never know, can just play a
Yeah.
bad game and
Yeah, and honestly, I like even no matter who comes out of this game because I think Philly is kind of they're having a rough start to MLS, but especially with the way they played last night, like I can see them potentially beating LAFC. Obviously, this is an MLS Cup Finals rematch. So
Yeah.
like it's going to be on a two-leg system, which is going to be really cool to kind of see this. I don't know who has the first leg. I have to check the schedule. But this is gonna be really exciting. And even if like I think LAFC is obviously the strongest team, and I think I don't know if they're necessarily the favorites because I don't know too much about Tigres this season, but I think they're the best out of MLS who can compete. But at the same time, after what I saw from Philly, I think Philly can really, even if they were to upset LAFC, I think that's just Philly flexing their muscles, saying like, no, we're still good and we could still win this all. So I also wouldn't be surprised to see Philly like potentially win it all either.
And I mean, they do play them in MLS, so they have
Yeah,
that, experience and shit like that. So yeah, I mean,
yeah,
for sure, it could definitely happen. Absolutely.
yeah. So like, I think we all kind of think it's pretty cool to see MLS finally kind of I don't want to say take the crown from Liga MX because Liga MX has been winning the Champions League for like 15 years in a row. But it's nice to see us actually be competitive in this tournament and not just
Yeah.
kind of like skate by and barely get in. It's cool to see like, no, like we're taking down teams, you know. But anyways, let's go into our MLS we match day 8 predictions. Let me just pull it up right here. So Tyler, you have the records of how we did last week, right?
I do. Hold on one second.
So I know I had 8 wins and I don't know how many losses exactly, but I believe 6 losses. But how did you do this week? I did it like I said, last week I did pretty damn good. I think 8 correct picks is pretty solid, especially being MLS and then also having to pick draws and stuff was really good. Especially I had a couple few down weeks, but it's
I
cool
got
to see.
5 wins, so definitely improvement from last week where I had two.
Slowly but
Still,
surely.
yeah, slowly but surely, I mean, it's MLS, it's very unpredictable. Um, Adam got, let's see, Adam got one, two, three, four. Adam got five as well. So you got me and Adam at five, you with eight. So I mean, pretty solid week. I think that's the first time where we're all been like kind of neck and neck. Um,
Yeah, except I ran away with it.
yeah,
Sorry.
and it's really weird too because it was like I don't know, like there was just some that like just like it should have just never happened. Like Red Bulls should have never drawn with San Jose, if you ask me. So I mean I don't know. There's
I
just
think I
some.
did pick a draw for that one actually. I don't know. I think now, like I said, we're trying to figure out who's who, and it's starting to like click. At
No,
least
we
for
all
me,
we
it
all
is. I
had
don't know.
Red Bulls. We all had Red Bulls
Oh,
in that one.
really?
Yeah.
Interesting. Anyways, so I'm gonna pull it up right here. This is match day 8. Let's go into our picks. So Montreal versus DC United. Montreal minus 110 at home. DC United plus 250 away, with the draw being a plus 240. This is a tough one for me to pick. But I'm gonna go Montreal at home.
Hold on one second. I'm just.
Obviously, Inter Miami players going over there. I don't know if they're going to get the start with Bryce Duke and Ariel Lassiter. Probably not Lassiter, but Duke might get a start. Not sure. A short week for him and trying to figure things out in the players. But I like Montreal at home. DC United's is a pretty weak side.
Yeah. I have Montreal in this as well, and then also Adam sent us his, so I am gonna.
Oh, I didn't know
Um.
he sent his.
Yeah. So I am gonna include his while we're on here too. Um. I don't know exactly what order he went in though, because he has a lot of draws in these picks. He does have Montreal, though. He didn't go in the exact order we have it on here, but it does say Montreal, so I'm gonna.
All right, we all three got Montreal. Okay, let's go into Charlotte versus Colorado. Charlotte at home minus 105, Colorado away plus 240, with the draw being plus 250. I'm gonna go Charlotte at home for this one.
Uh, I'm gonna go Charlotte as well. They've been looking good still. I think last week,
Colorado's just terrible.
yeah, and I think even last week, like Charlotte, like I think they drawed against definitely a team they should have won. But Adam also has Charlotte as well. So yeah, I think we all know that Colorado is just terrible. So
By the way, Adam is going on the same order as Fat Mob, so just so you know. All right. So New York Red Bulls versus Houston Dynamo. New York Red Bulls at home minus 160. Houston Dynamo on the road plus 400, with the draw being plus 270. Let me go New York Red Bulls here. Houston Dynamo is not good away. They've been decent at home, but their team is just not good enough to take on the Red Bulls, and I'm going to go Red Bulls.
and we all have Red Bulls on this one actually, Adam and me as well. I just I mean I don't know. New York definitely should have beat San Jose last week. Don't know how they drawed, but if they draw against Houston, I'm gonna be livid. So
All right. Now let's go to Columbus versus New England. This is going to be a really good game. Two teams at the top of the East. Columbus plus 100 at home. New England plus 240 away, with the draw being plus 230. I'm going to go with the draw here. I think New England has enough to take on Columbus away. Both two really solid teams, but I really like New England this year.
you said you have a draw on this one?
I have a
Oh, you
draw
said
on this one, yeah.
okay. Um,
I think New England can do enough to pull out a draw here. I don't think Columbus can get away, but this is a really good matchup.
yeah, it is. Adam has crew on this one. I agree with you. New England has been looking really, really good this season so far. Um,
They're second in the table, and Columbus is fourth in the table.
yeah, no, this is a very interesting one for sure. I um I don't know. I think I'm gonna be the odd one out. I think I'm gonna go New England here. So you have a draw, Adam got crew, and I'll go New England on this one actually.
All right. So I think here's another decent matchup. We got Toronto at home plus 150 against Atlanta away plus 160, with the draw being a plus 220. So I'm I'm going to go Atlanta here. I like Atlanta. I think they're the better team overall. I think they can win one on the road at Toronto.
All right, Atlanta. Um, Adam does have a draw on this one. Um, and me, I'm gonna say, trying to think of their games from last week. I can't remember who they matched up against and how they performed. But I mean, these are two of the better teams for sure. So I'm gonna
Toronto drew
say,
Nashville last week, and Atlanta drew New York City FC last week.
yeah, they play
Both
in a
got coming off
baseball
draw.
stadium though. So
Atlanta third on the table, Toronto ninth on the table.
yeah, Toronto just has some injury problems going on at the moment.
True.
I'm gonna go Atlanta with you actually. I like Atlanta in this one. I think they could sneak this one out. Um,
Yeah, me too. I think that the Greek striker is from them. Their new DP signing has been just scored first couple goals. So I think he's going to really start unleashing. I think they're really starting to click over there in Atlanta. So
mhm.
they got to get as
all
many
their
wins as they
all their
can. If
yeah
Almada's going to be gone this summer, they got to get
yeah.
as many as they can. All right, New York City versus Nashville. New York at home is minus 105. Nashville away plus 260, with the draw being plus 230. Give me New York City at home. Like I said, they play in a baseball field. It's tough to win there, and Nashville is not a team that can really score goals. So I'm gonna go New York City here. I think they're gonna upset Nashville, even
Me
though
and
they're the
Adam
favorites.
Me and Adam both have Nashville actually. I know that baseball stadium. It's it's such a throw off for every team, but I don't
Yeah.
know. It's just I don't know. It's like it's hard. It's hard to really say NYCFC can. get it done against Nashville. I don't know. I'm gonna have to go Nash for sure on this one.
All right. Now let's go. Austin versus Vancouver Whitecaps. Austin at home minus 115. Vancouver on the road plus 260 with the draw being plus 260. Give me Austin. Um, Vancouver has been beating up on being competitive against like some mid-table. Vancouver's a mid-table team. I don't think they can really compete. I think this is a chance for Austin to kind of get back in the groove of things, even though I say that every week. But Austin is too talented to be this bad. So, and they're at home. Austin, like, what's the name of that? Q2 Stadium? Like that place is a fortress. So I like Austin at home.
Um,
Austin's better than what the record is.
yeah,
100%.
for sure. Adam does have Austin in this one as well. I'm gonna go Austin as well myself. It's Vancouver, so anyone really, unless you're a
Even
Vancouver
though
fan.
Vancouver is 8, Austin is 9. But like I said, I think Austin is still a better
Yeah,
team.
yeah. They're just having a few struggles early on, but yeah, I agree. I think they are a better team for sure as well. So give me
All
Austin.
right. Chicago versus Philadelphia. Chicago plus 165. Philadelphia away plus 145 with the draw being a plus 230. I actually see a draw here. So I think obviously Philly is not playing super well in the league. Um, and I don't know how they're going to handle this upcoming week after playing a Champions League game with a full lineup. So I'm going to go draw here. Even Chicago, I don't think they're good enough to really pull out the wind. So I'm going to go draw.
Adam has a draw in this one. Um, I think I'm actually gonna go Chicago just with Philly coming off of a midweek game. Only a few days of rest.
Mm-hmm.
Um, playing against powerhouse fucking or getting ready to play powerhouse LA. I Yeah, I got Chicago. It's just I think the midweek game is gonna throw Philly off a little bit. Plus on top of their
Yeah.
early season struggles as well.
Yeah. And I think they know too, Chicago's a weaker side, so they could probably put a weaker lineup and still get at least a result with a 1 point. All right. Let's go. FC Dallas versus Real Salt Lake. FC Dallas minus 140, Real Salt Lake plus 340 with the draw being a plus 250. I think Dallas, like you said, Dallas is getting by the skin of their teeth. Like it's just barely getting these victories. But I think they're going to continue to do it. I think Dallas is just more talented up front. Give me Dallas with the victory.
All right. Hold on one second. Let me write that in. So you got Dallas. Adam has a draw in this one. I I don't know. I mean, Dallas like barely beat us, and
But Dallas is, to me, is still like really good. Like I mean, they're fourth on the table right now. But like you said, like they're barely getting by. So I can
yeah,
kind of see the Real Salt Lake has been competitive.
yeah, and that's where I'm getting at in my pick. It's like Real Salt Lake has been putting up fights against these teams, but I don't know when Dallas is sitting there struggling against a team like Inter Miami, which I know we play better at home for sure than on the road, but still to only win 1-0 is just I don't know. It's just very hard for me to confidently say Dallas. So hmm, I'm gonna go with Adam. I'm gonna go with a draw. I really want to say Real Salt Lake, but I want to play it safe and take the draw.
All right. Now let's do Minnesota United versus Orlando City. Minnesota at home plus 110, Orlando away plus 220 with the draw being a plus 230. Minnesota just had their first loss of the season against Chicago. Orlando City still can't click, and I don't know if they ever will this season. I'm going to go Minnesota.
All right, Minnesota. So Adam has a draw in this one, surprisingly. Let me double check, because Yeah,
Yeah,
Adam
he
has a
does.
draw in this one, surprisingly. So I don't know. That seems kind of odd to me against Orlando, but like anything can happen for sure. But I don't know. I could confidently say I think Minnesota got this one, so I'm gonna go with you on this one.
All right. St. Louis City FC versus FC Cincinnati. St. Louis plus 130 at home. Cincinnati plus 180 away, with the draw being a plus 230. Cincinnati at top of the table has not lost a match this season. St. Louis City now on back to back losses, but they are going back. This is a really good matchup, honestly. This is a matchup of the week, or one of them. But I think Cincinnati's going to take their first L. I think playing at St. Louis is going to be a little too much for them. And Cincinnati's another one of those teams that's just been barely squeaking by. They haven't been looking super dominant, even though they're in first. So I'm gonna go St. Louis.
All right. Adam has a draw in this one, um, which honestly is not a bad take considering.
It's not. It's not.
Yeah, considering Cincinnati. I mean, I think they only scored one goal last week, and St. Louis at home is just a different breed. Uh, I'm gonna go draw too.
Cincinnati's all the Cincinnati's wins have been by one goal
Yeah, and
this
that's and
season.
that's and that's what's really crazy to me. But I don't know. I feel like St. Louis isn't on the same level they were at the start of the season. But I mean, at home they are a
Reality.
different breed. Yeah, I think reality's starting to kick in a little bit. But I'm gonna go draw and play it safe because yeah, Cincinnati's only scoring like one goal usually, and they're winning. So it's like, ugh.
All right. Now let's go to the Cascadia rivalry, one of the biggest rivalries in MLS. Portland versus Seattle. Portland at home plus 185. Seattle plus 125, with the draw being plus 240. I'm going to go Seattle on the road here. Portland still struggling with injuries, trying to figure things out with those injuries being gone, with those injured players being gone. Seattle is just on fire right now. Seattle is one of the toughest teams in the league. I'm going Seattle.
We all have Seattle on this one. I think it's just safe to bet on them as of right now.
Yeah.
Yeah, so
And
we all
Portland
have
injuries have been killing them. So,
yeah.
all right, let's go. St. Louis. I'm not St. Louis, my bad. San Jose Earthquakes versus Kansas City. This is the poo poo bowl of the week. San Jose plus San Jose plus 105 at home. Kansas City plus 220, with the draw being plus 240. I'm going to go San Jose here. I think they're a little bit more of a complete team and can put together some wins. Kansas City, I feel like they always look competitive, but they can never just like put in the back of the net. And if you can't put in the back of the net, you can't win. So I'm going to go San Jose Earthquakes here.
We all actually have San Jose on this one, which is kind of crazy because most of the time I'm never voting for San Jose, so it's kind of wild to think about that. But yeah, we all have San Jose on this one. I think it's just a safer bet, like you said. They're just a more complete team. I feel.
Kansas City right now is the worst team in the league. So, as a stand, or tied with Montreal. So, all right. Now let's go to the final game of the night, or Sunday. It's going to be a standalone game, final game of the week. El Trafico, LA Galaxy versus Los Angeles FC at Los Angeles. Los Angeles plus 180 at home, LAFC plus 130 at home, question mark, on the road, and the draw being plus 240. LAFC is just going in this absolute downward spiral that we were talking about last week. I don't know if you saw, but the sporting director basically came out
You
and
mean LA
said
Galaxy? LA Galaxy.
LA Galaxy, the LA Galaxy sporting director basically said that, or was it the coach or the sporting, one of the two, said that if we don't make the playoffs, I will quit. So we'll see how that goes. Yeah, it's the easy choice. Let's not. It's going to be. Is it a true home field advantage? There's going to be a ton of LAFC fans out there. What is the supporters group called? 3252. I want to say. They're going to
Something like
show out. They're going to show out. Give me LAFC.
Um, yeah, Adam has a draw on this one, surprisingly.
Hey, I
That's,
will. I could see that.
I
Anything,
mean, it's
its own
home field.
traffico.
Yeah, it's
So
home
it's
field for
like,
both teams. So, that's just to think about it though. I mean, LA Galaxy has been on a big struggle this season. So I mean, but I can't blame Adam for the draw because you're playing in the same environment where you both play your home games. So your fans are pretty much going to be there no matter what. But I don't know. LAFC is just very dominant at the moment. It's just hard to go against them. So just give me LAFC on this one. But Adam does have a draw on this one, yes.
all right, and that is our picks of the week. Also, thank you MLS for, even though I'd like to see more of it, put more games on multiple days. Don't put all the games in a 3 hour window. Like, I'm so over this. It makes it so hard to watch. Put a game on Friday night. Put games throughout Saturday. Like, I don't understand why they don't do a 4 o'clock, 7 o'clock, and 10 o'clock. Split it up that way, and then you do two games Sunday night. It'd
Yeah.
be perfect, man. If you do one, you do two, you do one prime time on a Friday. Then you spread out your games throughout Saturday, and then you do two prime times on a Sunday. You got Apple TV, bro. You don't have to worry about scheduling with the networks. You can literally put up games whenever you want. I don't understand why they're putting them all at once. That's the one thing that never makes sense to me. It's like you're literally on a streaming platform where it does not matter what window you play it on
Yeah.
or what day. Just do it. But anyways, let's hop over across the pond to the Premier League. I wish Adam was here because this is getting a little spicy right now. So Arsenal just tied, was it Liverpool?
Yeah,
I believe.
Liverpool after
Just tied.
taking an 8-minute lead.
Yeah. So ends up in a 2-2 draw. City wins their game um, against, let me double check,
City beat oh, you talking about in the Prem or you
Southampton
talking
in the
Okay,
in
yeah.
the Prem. Southampton. So now this narrows the table to a 6 point lead for Arsenal. And looking at these final two teams' remaining games, man, Arsenal has an uphill battle. So I'll
Mm.
start off with Arsenal's next couple games, and then I'll rattle off cities, and you let me know what you think can happen. And
All
you
right.
as the fans as well, let me in the comments. All right, so here's Arsenal. Arsenal then is going to play West Ham, Southampton, City, Chelsea, Newcastle, Brighton, Nottingham, and then they end the season off against Wolves. That's a tough one. I mean, you're going West Ham, a decent mid. They're good. That's gonna be a competitive match.
Well, and
You
Ted
have
Lasso,
Southampton,
are they
yeah.
using the Ted Lasso squad or
Nate, and then Southampton is a team you should win. Mark your calendars for April 26th against City because that is going to be a big, big matchup. Then, look, we all know Chelsea's having their downfalls, but Chelsea is still a competitive team with a ton of talent.
Yeah, I mean they held
And
their
so
own
that,
against Real Madrid for a little while in that Champions League until
yeah,
that red card happened. So I mean,
yeah, we'll get into that. But yeah, that at the end of the day, you still got to watch out for Chelsea. Then right after that, you're playing a Newcastle team, which is having a really good season. It's going to make the Champions League.
they haven't
And then,
lost. They haven't lost in their last 4 or 5.
yeah,
Keep that in mind
yeah.
too.
And then you have Brighton, which is a team competing for Europa League, which is a mid-table team, but they're a competitive team. Nottingham, who's going against relegation battle, and then Wolves. So Nottingham Wolves, you should win that. But to me, that 4 week stretch, really 3 week stretch of City, Chelsea, Newcastle, that is going to make or break their season right there. And now
Hmm.
let me go over to City real quick so you can hear this. So City has Leicester, Brighton, Arsenal, Fulham, West Ham, Leeds, Everton.
Oof.
So City definitely has the easier matchup lining up.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, I mean, going against Leicester, who's probably going to get relegated this season, a Brighton team, which is, a mid-table team fighting for Europa League, but at the end of the day, it's Man City. They should beat them. Arsenal, that's going to be the massive matchup. Fulham is a team they should beat. West Ham's a team they should beat. Leeds is a team they should beat.
And
Everton's a
see,
team they should beat.
Fulham, I almost want to say Fulham would actually have a somewhat decent chance. It's just with Mitrovic having his 8-game suspension is really killing them, especially right now towards the end of the season.
Yeah, is not having a terrible
Terrible
season,
season,
honestly.
yeah, I know. Mitrovic is really, really good. I mean, the dude is. I mean, I'm not saying he's a world class striker, like he's not Benzema, but I mean, the dude coming from. I mean, he has the most goals in championship history in one season, and that was
I
just
will say
last
though,
season.
Fulham is on a terrible streak right now.
Yeah,
So
well, I
Fulham
mean,
fans will probably be pissed
Mitrovic
at
has
us.
been, yeah, Mitrovic has been injured though, so I mean, it's kind of hard to even like, you know what I mean? It's kind of hard to even give them
Yeah,
like some kind of credit
yeah.
because it's not really their fault, but at the same time, yeah, like,
You have a draw and 4 straight losses for Fulham. So,
yeah,
but luckily they had a good enough point lead that, like you're saying, the suspensions it's helping them get by. Also, too, City has a game in hand with 29 games played. Arsenal has 30 games played.
yeah.
So, I'm starting to understand why Adam was so worried for so long. Like,
Yeah.
we were talking about it for weeks, like, oh no, Arsenal's got it. But then, like, I was like, why are Arsenal fans being so skeptical? I get why you're skeptical over your history the past like couple decades, but like now I'm kind of I'm starting to feel worried for him because like there's a City
There's
has
a
a game in hand, and then they play Arsenal, and then Arsenal still has to play Chelsea. And where's that game at against Arsenal City? So that's at Manchester. Man, that's
that's
tough.
a tough
That
one,
is
yeah.
really tough. And then you have and then the Newcastle games at Newcastle. You play Chelsea at home, but whew, like yeah, man, that I honestly don't know at this point. Like I'm like out like for a while, and me on the podcast, I was like, oh, Arsenal has this in the bag. This is what it. But now I'm like, man, like
Now you're really like starting to think, like, yeah.
reality starting to hit in, and I'm like, oh man, I would love to see Adam's reaction to this, but it's like it's
And
tough.
I mean,
Like
Arsenal is known to bottle like a lot of
no, yeah,
things.
it's their
It's
history.
yeah. So I mean, it's like you can't even really like say, "Oh, Arsenal got this," because they're known. They are literally known to be bottling shit like this. So
So what do you think in prediction? Do you think Arsenal can get by? Or are you still in more of like a wait and see mode? I think we're all kind of in a wait and see mode. At least I am.
yeah, I'm in
But
a wait and see mode. I mean, anything can happen. I mean, 8 weeks is 8 weeks at the end of the day.
yeah.
That's still 2 months, 2 months of play. I mean,
Mm,
that's a long time. Stuff can happen, injuries, whatever. Plenty of things can happen in sports. I mean, there's definitely been bigger upsets in sports. So I mean, it could definitely happen, and it's not like it's not even really a massive lead, especially because City has the much easier path. And I mean, City's just not a bad team. They just had struggles early on, so it's like, it makes you really
mm,
think like,
yeah.
man, like
And then
Arsenal
and then
really has
post
to close these out. Like,
Yeah, and now Holland is like back to form from the beginning of the season. I mean, he had a little bit
yeah,
of a dull moment that first month out of the World Cup and the winter break, but now he's scoring more than he's back, and that is really worrisome. So, I mean, if you had to pick, like absolutely had to pick, who's winning the Prem?
I mean, as much as I really want to see Arsenal win it, just because of their history, and I mean, they're the only team in Prem history to not lose a game and win. They went undefeated in '04 with the Invincibles, with Henri and Vieira and all that, and that was the last time they won the Prem. So I mean, they're going on an 18-year streak of not winning it. So it's like you really, of course, like every person, whether you're an Arsenal fan or not, I feel like deep down you want to see them win. But it's like at the same time, it's like you can never doubt Pep and you can never doubt City. They just had struggles early on. So
Mhm.
I mean, it's really hard to say considering City has the much easier path and the way they're playing too. I mean, Arsenal's playing well, but I mean, that Liverpool game, they I mean they scored in the 8th minute, and then they scored again before Liverpool scored. So I mean, it's like, bro, right there they had to close that out. They haven't won in Anfield since 2008. 2008,
And
15
and
years
dude,
they haven't won there.
that and that win would have gave them some decent cushion
Yeah, and that's what I'm saying. They would have got three
because
points.
you yeah, and even though City has a game in hand, I mean a 9 point lead, but then well, no, it'd be a 8 point lead.
10-point lead. Yeah,
At least you can if you have room to lose that City game. Now you don't. Now
yeah.
you have no room to lose that City game. You lose
Or
that
that
City
Chelsea
game,
game.
yeah, one of those two. Like now you're going in there having to win both. And City has the goal differential advantage right now with
Yeah.
48 to their 43. So look, I'm rooting for Arsenal. I like rooting for the underdog. I don't like City. But man, if you're pointing a gun to my head and I had to pick,
I
I
gotta
I
take
gotta
City.
go
Yeah,
City. I
yeah.
gotta go City. As much as I hate to say it, I gotta go City.
And see, and
But
that's another thing too, though, is like, I mean, at the end of the day, even if Arsenal doesn't win the league, I think Arsenal fans should be satisfied to know they're at least going to be playing Premier League or Champions League ball next season. And I feel like,
yeah,
there's a silver lining with everything, and I think that's definitely one of the silver linings is, you know, yeah, they're not winning the coveted Prem trophy, which is ideally what they want, of course. Like that's what everyone is gunning for, but for them not
no
playing
pun
Champions
intended.
League in, yeah, that's what, they're not playing Champions League in over 10 years. I mean, I think that's
No,
still a step forward going into the future. So it's like they have to be happy with whatever they get. I mean, if they get both, that's the end goal. But I mean, if they get one of two,
mm.
it's like, good enough.
No, yeah, and I do like I agree. It is a step in the right direction. Like you said, they haven't made it to the Champions League in a long time, and for them to even be in the race and to be in first for months and months now, uh, to let it slip at the end. Look, City's probably the better team, like, but Arsenal's been able to put together wins and play well together and come up with good tactics. So,
Yeah.
you can't be upset, but you can go into this offseason and load up some more and go after City. So at least you're there. You are a top team in the Prem, and you're going to play some Champions League football. So, but let's stay on City, but let's switch over to another competition, and that is the coveted Champions League. Manchester City did go up against Tyler's beloved Bayern Munich, who we all thought were our favorites to win Champions League because we thought they were super deep and had the youth and the talent to win it all. But they lost 3-0 to City at Manchester. So I'll let you take it away, Tyler. I didn't get the chance to see the full game because of work getting caught up, but I'll let Tyler go ahead and let me know. So what do you think? What is your reactions? Like, what happened to the game plan? Did you like the formation, the tactics that Tuchel put in? What
Um,
happened there?
so I know I made it very known. I thought our starting lineup was very iffy. I just don't really understand why we're not starting Cancelo, who literally like is on loan from them. So I mean, he pretty much knows how they play a lot, stuff like that. That's We didn't have Mane starting. We didn't have Mueller starting. Like it was just very questionable. I didn't really understand it. Mind you, we are playing in Manchester, very beloved fans and stadium. So I understand the
Blah blah
pressure
blah blah
playing on
blah.
the road. Yeah, but like it didn't really make sense. I'm watching. Mueller and Cancelo didn't come on till the 80th minute. Mane didn't come on till the 70th minute, and it's just like I don't really understand that because at halftime it was 1-0. Like going into the second half, it was 1-0. So we had a chance. Like we were in it. But I think right then and there is when you need to start. making your subs and bringing in your powerhouse players to really, get in the game. And, like Tuchel has experience playing Champions League. I mean, he has experience against City too in the league and Champions League. So, I was confident in him. I mean, us playing in Munich, we're a different team. So, I mean, we're very good at home. So, I mean, it's definitely winnable, but it's tough considering it's a 3-0 aggregate going into that. And I know I made it known, like, if we scored at least one, like 1-3, I feel like it's definitely way more doable. But my confidence just going into the second leg is almost none. And it sucks for me to say that because we're already out of our domestic cup. I mean, we are, yeah, we'll most likely will win the Bundesliga, but I mean, that's like nothing new to us. And I mean, winning the Champions League isn't anything new to us either, but it's just like, we were the
Subtle
favorites.
flex.
Didn't Yeah, but I mean, we were the
It's
favorite. I
just
mean, most people are saying, yeah, we are the favorites. We didn't concede any goals under Nagelsmann in the Champions League, and then now the first game without him, and we concede three. And mind you, that third one probably should have never even happened, considering it happened in like the 85th minute, and it was a fucking rebound. Like it's just so heartbreaking to watch that. Like I literally was like sick to my stomach watching that game. It was just so bad from you know halftime on. Like the first half, we were just getting like I don't know, like our fullbacks and our midfield were just getting just like torched. I feel like just throttled the whole game. Like they could not stop them. But like I said, it was 1-0 at halftime, so we were still in it. And I don't know, just after halftime, we just I don't know, we just crumbled, and they just took off with it. And then the fact that we made our subs so late in the game just didn't make sense. Like I don't know, it was just bad all around. Upamecano
yeah.
probably had one of the worst like performances I've ever seen, actually, too.
I do want to ask you, like, do you think what Tuchel's mindset going into this game was to be a little bit more youthful and a little bit more speed to kind of combat City? Because obviously playing Muller on the bench, Mane on the off the bench, which the you know I feel like if you can't score, like obviously the Muller sub at the 80th minute, Cancelo sub at the 80th minute, and Sadio Mane at the 69th, those are too late. Like I would have
Yeah,
liked to
way
see
too late.
Muller and Mane come in at the 60th minute.
Yeah.
Um,
Or even the 55th. I mean, if we're being, because like I said, we were in it, at halftime. It was 1-0 going into the second half. So I mean, essentially you're chasing a goal just to at least tie it. And I mean, Mueller, who is the all-time leading assist leader in Bundesliga, and he's also a top 5 player of all time in assist. And yes, that is a real number. He is actually top 5 in assist of all players ever. And Mane, who has plenty of experience against City, playing for Liverpool all those years, it's like it doesn't, like, I don't know, it just didn't really make any sense to me. Like I feel like Tuchel's just coming in and now he's just like, you know what, fuck Bayern, like let me make them lose. Like it's
no,
just I don't
and,
know. Like those subs definitely were way too late. Way too late.
and then like I don't know, like I feel like too, like maybe you don't sub out Musiala. Maybe you keep that attacking presence. I know, like obviously you're doing a like for like with Muller.
Hmm.
But I mean, we've seen Musiala play on the wing. Why not put him out there on the wing with Muller in there and Mane and just get full fire? I mean, you're at this point you're down. Like you need to score,
Yeah,
like you said, and like try to tie up the game if you can because yeah, I mean a three, dude. That means you got to go in there and you got to either tie on aggregate with 3-0 defeat
and then go to pens.
and then go to pens, or you go win 4-0 against a City team who we're just talking about how they like Holland's going to get his. Like
Yeah,
that's just like it's just
I mean he got
how
his
it's
in the
going to be.
85th from a rebound, but he still got his,
Yeah,
exactly.
but he's always so it's like you're telling me that Bayern is going to shut out City. Like get you're at Munich, but
Oh, yeah,
like I said, Holland's going to get his, and it's like
yeah,
if you lose that game down 1 goal, so be it. And
yeah.
you go into Munich down a goal, it's
To-
possible.
yeah.
And I don't. man, it doesn't quite make sense to me. Like even though Bayern held possession, it was City's physicality and speed that was able to just like break
Yeah.
down the
And
Bayern's
honestly,
defense.
as much as it pains me to say too, like I mean, I love Davies. Like met him in real life at Inter Miami. Like hugged this dude on the midfield line. Like, but he just looked terrible too. Like him and Upamecano. Like I don't know what it was, man, but like Davies was just out there getting like throttled by Bernardo Silva of all people. Like Bernardo Silva was just making Davies like his like rag doll in a way. Like it was
Bernard goal and assist.
yeah,
He
bro.
he was the player. He's the player of the match.
And that's it. And that's that he doesn't even normally start for them too. It's like crazy to really think like man, like that's how much power City has. And honestly, like Rodri, first outside box goal of his career, and like that one was the only one that I was really like, okay, like that was deserved. Like it happened. Like he beat the keeper. It was his first outside box goal of his career. But like Holland was a rebound. Grealish had like just a fucking tap in. Like it was just like two of those goals, man. Just like were so like ugly. And it's just like it makes you really think like if those didn't happen, it'd be 1-0, like 1-0. And then that's that we didn't make those subs at halftime that we should have made. So it's just I don't know, like it's
You
just
know what
so
is
hard.
kind of wild. City only had one sub
Yeah,
and
and they
Julian
were
Alvarez.
yeah, and they were throttling us, bro. Like I don't know. That second leg, like I said, I mean, it's winnable. Real Madrid did it last season. Real Madrid was down against, matter of fact, City. City was City was
Well,
beating
Real
Real
Madrid did
Madrid.
against PSG and City.
Yeah,
The
but
PSG
like
one was egregious. That was
yeah, but I think the Man City one against Real Madrid, I think it was like a 4-1 aggregate or something, and then Real Madrid ended up winning it. So that's what I
I
mean.
believe so.
Yeah, it is very possible. Like I said, we and that's that same thing. As a matter of fact, now that I'm thinking about it, I think the aggregate was 4-1 if I remember correctly. They played at Manchester first, which City scored the 4 goals on them. I think Benzema got the only goal in Manchester, and then they went to the Bernabeu, and we all know what happened. Real Madrid shut them out, and they won on aggregate.
Yes, but that was
I think
before Holland.
yeah, that is very true. I agree, but
And also too, like
I mean, okay, fine.
it's
You
also
eliminate
it's also
Holland,
it's
and
it's also well no, but I'm also gonna say like, man, Benzema had an incredible Champions League to like end it.
yeah.
Like I don't know if as much
But I
as I
mean, we
like
also had Lewandowski
Bayern's, as
during
much
that time
yeah,
too.
but
So
as much as I like Bayern's front, I don't. That's a tough task to ask any of those guys to do
yeah,
what Real Madrid did that game against
yeah.
an even stronger City team. And man, I hate to break it to you, but I mean, it sucks for me because I like to see City lose,
Yeah.
and I was rooting for Bayern was my favorite, but I think it's going to take the L on here, and we're
But
going to go to
yeah.
the semis.
But I mean, if you want my honest prediction though, I mean, City in their 100 and something year, like establishment as a club, still have never won one Champions League in their whole lifetime. And I still don't think even now with this team, I still don't even think they win it. Even if they move on from Bayern, uh, the next person they run into is
How's it split up?
it's so on the other side it's Benfica and then all the Italy teams. So Napoli, Inter, and Milan. And then
Oh,
on
so
our side it's Chelsea, Bayern, Real Madrid. So I mean it's like I don't think City beats Real Madrid if you want my honest opinion.
so we're thinking pretty much that. I mean, no disrespect to Serie A, but it's going to be on that side of the bracket. I mean, unless a Napoli could be really competitive, honestly, a
Well,
Napoli could, but
it's gonna be a guaranteed Serie A team going to the final
yeah,
because Benfica's already down 2-0. If you want my opinion, I think it's gonna be AC Milan. But either way, on that whole other side, it's guaranteed a Serie A team goes to the Champions League final.
yeah,
It's already
Benfica's not making
yeah.
it. And man, it does kind of suck because I would love to see a City Real Madrid final.
Yeah,
But it looks like we're
but
probably not going to get that. But honestly, we
I
do get to see him in two legs,
yeah,
which is good. So let's move over to Real Madrid actually, and this is going to be our last topic of the day. Real Madrid versus Chelsea. Real Madrid, uh, basically dominated Chelsea from start to finish. I mean, did you get the chance to see this game? Real Madrid won 2-0 against Chelsea, scored by Benzema and Asenio. I can never pronounce
Asensio,
his name
yeah,
right.
Asensio.
Asensio.
Mhm.
Um, yeah, really solid game by Real Madrid. I felt like Chelsea didn't even touch the ball. Like
Yeah,
honestly, what was the
so
so 57 to 43 ball possession. Like Real Madrid just dominated that game from start to finish. Uh with the player out of position and Kamavinga playing left back, which honestly, man, he hasn't been bad playing out of position left back. Kamavinga is a really he's
Golden
honestly
Boy
turned
award.
out to be a really good player, and now showing his versatility, um, as a
Future
midfielder
Golden Boy.
and playing left back. So he held his own over there, against Sterling and so yeah, I mean, man, Chelsea struggles continue. Let's be real. I get that you played first game at the Bernabeu, but going back to London, I just don't see it happening. Um, Real Madrid, this is just their tournament, man. They know how to perform in this
They
tournament,
have the most in history.
and the La Liga race is pretty much out of reach for them. Barcelona is pretty much going to take it. So this is just them to just fully focus on this. So, and when you get a Real Madrid team that is fully focused on Champions League, it's scary,
It's
man.
scary.
And they're just such a well-rounded. They're to me like they just come off as like one of the most well-rounded teams in the world. Like I just feel like each position that they're in is like they don't really have a weak spot. Like honestly, anywhere other than the fact that Camavinga is playing left back, but even then, his versatility's been able to like actually hold that down while injuries plague them. So and then Benzema's streak is just continuing. The guy is just I feel like he's getting better with age, honestly. Like he's playing so well now that he's like the lone man and his partnership between him and Vinicius has been unreal.
Hey,
Vinicius, I don't care what
did you ever
anybody
hear the
says.
story?
He's
Did
the
you ever hear the story about that too? Like how when Vinicius like first like became part of the first team, Benzema told everyone in the locker room, "Don't pass him the ball." You ever
really
hear that? Yeah, you never heard that? Yeah, they had
no.
like Benzema did not
Actually,
like
you know
Vinicius.
what? You know, I do remember that Vinicius, man, he's gotten so much shit since he's like really like blown
Yeah,
up
and the
between the
racial
fans and
abuse, man,
everything.
it's yeah,
Yeah.
the racial abuse is crazy to that man, bro. Like
And he's to me like who's a better left back in the world? Like the guy has been
left winger,
unstoppable. Left winger, yeah, left winger. Like who's yeah, left back. Like the dude's
his
one-on-one
daddy thing.
ability. Yeah, the dude's one-on-one ability is like top notch. I feel like no one has been able to really stop that. At least I can think of. If you know one, let me know. But like he's been unstoppable in one-on-one possession. Like his ability to just run down that flank and make the diagonal runs in with the ball at his feet, and then just to pass whoever's playing that left center back, the right center back, right back position. He's just been able to skirt right past them, cross the ball into whoever's there, or take the shot on his own and just make them super dangerous. And his speed, like he's been unstoppable. I mean, we saw what he did to Barcelona with Arujo and Kunde, and now what he just did to Chelsea's line. It's like, man, like the guy has been unstoppable, and then Benzema's just there to clean it up. And Benzema, he's at the point where it's like the ball's at his feet, man, and he's within shooting distance. That's a scary sight to see because there's a good shot he can make it.
Yeah,
And then Modric and Valverde and Cruz in the midfield have just been like ball hawks, man. They've just been super creative and pushing the ball forward and getting it up to Rodrigo and Benzema and Vinicius. It's like they're so damn good. I really think the only team that can take them down would be a City or with the way Bayern, because obviously, like, I don't think Bayern's going to advance. So it's like the only team that can really take them down is City. So, what do you kind of your thoughts of the game? Did you get a chance to watch it, and like, what did you
Yeah,
think?
I watched the whole thing, and honestly, I I don't really think like Chelsea played as bad as it looks on paper, believe it or not. At least to a certain point. Mind you,
Chelsea
Chelsea,
started off strong. To be
yeah,
fair to Chelsea and the
they're
fans, like
under a
they started
new
off really
a new
strong.
manager in Frank Lampard, so it's like,
Well, kind of.
yeah, so but also at the same time too, like Chelsea was pretty much like in it. Like yeah, didn't really have the ball. I feel like they were definitely playing more defense all game than anything because they just couldn't get the ball. But I just feel like once that red card happened with Chilwell getting a direct red card, it just that's what really shot them in the foot because they were in it. They were only down one goal at that time until Chilwell got that red, and then Chilwell got the red,
uh,
and then they played with 10 men, and still it was only a 2-0
when
win.
did he get that? I don't know. I mean, I think even
I
before when
think
did,
he
let
got
me
it like the
see.
59th minute
He
or
got
something
he got it
like
at
that.
the 59th minute. You're right on the money. But look at why he got it though. He was
Yeah, no, no,
chasing
yeah, he was
behind against
chasing and
Rodrigo,
pushed
and
Rodrigo down, yeah. But
yeah, in an area where I mean Chelsea was getting killed in that transition, and with
yeah,
those
no,
two wingers that Real Madrid had, like
their
I mean,
speed
let's
was
be real,
just
that could have been a goal right there, even with him there. I mean, the only reason why I got the red card is because he was trying to prevent the goal from happening, and
yeah.
he did it in a bad way, but that still could have been a goal right there. And to me, like, yes, I get the red card situation, but it's like even before the red card, yes, they started off strong. João Felix had a strong chance in the beginning of the game, but it's like I don't know, man. Like Real Madrid just seemed dominant. They seemed like they were actually making like the like chances that were dangerous. You know, I don't know what the
Yeah.
expected goals were. Let me see if I could see it here. Yeah, Real Madrid 18 shots, four big chances. Um, and then expected goal rate of 2.28 versus Chelsea's was 0.66. They didn't have throughout the whole game. They didn't have an expected goal. You know what I mean? So like, I get, but like to me, like Real Madrid just they dominated that game. Like and
Mhm.
every like visually, like watching it, and then even on the stat sheet, to me, like I don't know. Then again, I like seeing the demise of Chelsea. So I just like seeing Prem teams lose, be honest with you. So
Yeah.
but I guess so what do you expect in leg two? Do you think Chelsea can make a comeback now that they're going back home to England?
No, fuck no. I don't care if they're playing at Stamford Bridge or damn under a bridge. They're not doing that
The
shit
London
against Real
Bridge.
Madrid. Yeah. They could play anywhere. They're not doing that shit against Real Madrid, man. No chance. No chance.
All right.
It just
So it looks like
will
we're
not.
looking at a City Real Madrid semifinal, and then we can kind of give your quick thoughts. I didn't get a chance to watch these, but give your quick thoughts about the other side of the bracket, the Inter um
So
and you
so
know
like I said, I mean it's a guaranteed Serie A team going to the final. If you want my opinion, I think Napoli is very competitive, and the one really good thing about that side is all those teams play each other multiple times a year. And mind you,
yeah.
Milan and Inter have that rivalry because they're both from the same city, so that's going to be a really really good one to watch. But I think just AC, like I think Milan just being like that powerhouse team, like I feel like they got that. Unless Lukaku just plays like he used to play in Everton and Chelsea and all that, like if he plays out of his mind, then I feel like that's the only way
Not
Inter
like
has
how he
a
plays
chance.
for Belgium.
Yeah, but I feel like that's the only way Inter gets a chance. But I think it's gonna come down to AC versus Napoli, and then it's just gonna be Milan just making the final. So.
Okay, so you think the matchup is really going to be whoever comes out of Napoli and Milan, AC Milan.
Yeah, pretty much.
But
I
Benfica's playing Inter, so yeah, I think I
Yeah.
agree with you. It's going to be whoever comes out of this Napoli Milan game. Milan is, I mean, Napoli obviously is about to win the Serie A for the first time in a long time. I don't know exactly how many years. And they've been a really strong team. They have a
Yeah, no,
huge
they understand.
gap.
They have a
Um,
really good like shit going on right now.
yeah, and so I kind of agree with you. I think whoever comes out of that game, Milan obviously with the big advantage. Napoli, I guess I don't know. That's going to be a really good get leg two to watch. Where was the first game at? Is it
For
at
which one?
Milan or Milan Napoli? Is it at
They
Milan?
played at Milan, yeah.
All right, so now they're going back to Naples.
Mhm.
So yeah, and then
Naples
honestly,
scored.
like yeah, Naples scored. And honestly, like let's not like count them out for the final. At the end of the game, if you're talking about a one game final, anything in a neutral site or anything can happen. And look, as much as I think it's going to be either City or Real Madrid that wins it all, if you're having a strong Milan and Napoli Napoli team in a one game final, anything is possible. You
For
know,
sure. Yeah.
like anything can happen. But anyways, we're gonna end the episode right there. I want to thank everybody for listening. We're gonna be back next week with some more footy talk on our side of the pond and the other side of the pond. But I want to thank everybody for listening. Please be sure to like and subscribe the podcast. And if you want to listen to it on all the platforms, you know where to find us anywhere you get your podcast: Apple, Google, Spotify, Pocket Cast, anywhere you get your podcast, you know where to find us. Check us out on all our social medias of Twitter, Instagram, Facebook. And yeah, we will catch you guys in the next one. Peace out, everybody.
Later, y'all.